Welcome to the Vital Spirit podcast. I'm Dr. Kelly Livingston, a naturopathic physician and your guide to a new health reality, one that connects body, mind, and spirit. Together, we'll dive deep into the art and science of holistic healing. Through working with hundreds of women through midlife transitions, I've discovered something profound. Most of our physical and emotional challenges are rooted in a maladaptive stress response. And true healing begins when we regulate our nervous system. Each episode will explore complex health topics in simple, empowering ways, uncover the deeper wisdom within each of us, and share practical tools for nervous system regulation to help you awaken your vital force and create lasting wellness. So, if you're ready to reconnect with yourself, your health, and your purpose, let's begin this journey together so you can experience life more fully human and deeply healed. Hi, and welcome back to the Vital Spirit podcast. I'm Dr. Kelly Livingston, and today we're talking about a topic that's both misunderstood and incredibly foundational to health: detoxification. Now, before you roll your eyes or you think of a juice cleanse that you've seen on Instagram or a detox hack, let me stop you right there. Detox definitely is not a trend. It's a built-in process that your body is doing every single day. It's not a process that we turn on or off because we bought the latest trendy milk thistle tea or anti-aging liposomal glutathione formula. The real question isn't if you detox, it's how well. And of course, we might use liver and antioxidant support in our health journey potentially. But my point is that I want you to get thinking about detox differently. Because here's the kicker: whether your body detoxes efficiently or not depends on your daily choices. And more importantly, it depends on the state of your nervous system. We've already talked in past episodes about drainage before detox and your emunctories, or organs of elimination that help us process toxins. Think of this episode as the next layer in that conversation. So go back and check that one out if you haven't already. Now, throughout the time that I might be working with a patient, I'm always going to be reminding them that detox is at the foundation of that therapeutic order. In naturopathic medicine, we talk about the therapeutic order. We had an entire episode on this, so go back and listen if you haven't already. That's episode 2, the blueprint for healing. At the foundation of this therapeutic order, which remember you can picture as a pyramid or check the show notes for an image, at the foundation of this pyramid down at the bottom is removing obstacles to cure. And detoxification lives right there on that bottom rung. Why? Because if your body is carrying a heavy load of toxins, whether from environmental exposures like pesticides, plastics, fragrances, or internal imbalances like gut dysbiosis and inflammatory foods we're consuming, it's like trying to heal while you're dragging around a backpack full of bricks. It's not possible. So when we're creating the conditions for health, detoxification is part of this foundational process. You'll often hear me using a bucket analogy for this. So in the bucket analogy, we all have a bucket, right? You can think of your body as a bucket. And over time, our bucket is going to fill up when we're exposed to things like chemicals, again, preservatives, fragrances, chemicals, things in our personal care products, things in the environment, stress. These are all filling up our bucket. For some people, that bucket fills up faster. This is going to be based on things like genetics, maybe your MTHFR status or hormonal shifts or gut health and our ability to detox and empty that bucket. And once that bucket overflows, that's when symptoms show up. So brain fog, fatigue, hormone imbalances, skin rashes, sensitivity to smell and chemicals, all of these are signs that your bucket is overflowing. And this is really where knowledge becomes power, because once we recognize toxic load as a root cause of some of our symptoms, we can actually address something, right? We can do something about our bucket overflowing. Not only can we reduce the amount that we're putting into that bucket, but there are so many ways that every single day we can help our body to actually remove toxins from that bucket, right? So that's what this episode is going to be about. So let's talk about the role that the seeds of health play in daily detoxification. So Detox isn't about buying fancy detox kits or juice cleanses or punishing and restricting your body. It's about working with your body's natural rhythms, which is exactly what the seeds of health are designed to do. And more advanced detoxification protocols that I do with patients, such as longer fasts or liver gallbladder flushes, they're often done after the basics have been put in place, certainly after we've run labs and we've cleared them medically. And these can be times of really profound learning about what it means to live in our body, to care for it, listen to it, and to give it what it needs. So many patients who first come and work with me are really out of touch with how their body feels, how things like movement makes them feel, or excess toxins like sugar or alcohol makes them feel. I hear all the time, Dr. Kelly, I didn't know I could feel this good. And it's because we've been really intentional about supporting detoxification and removing some of that toxic burden that's overflowing our detox bucket. So I realized over the years of working with patients through this process that in the beginning of their health awakening journey, it can seem like a lot. It can be overwhelming. So if you're someone who's at the beginning of this journey, this might feel like a lot. And that is why I created the Seeds of Health framework so that we know what we're focusing on watering every day. And throughout a lot of those seeds, you'll notice as you learn, oh, wow, a lot of these are actually helping my body detox. So let's talk about what some of those are right now. We know we have hydration, right? Because we just had an episode last week on that. Your kidneys and lymph system can't flush waste out if you're dehydrated. So you can't move toxins out of that bucket when you're dehydrated. You do want to aim to drink half your body weight in ounces of water daily and rotate in things like lemon water or green tea or roasted dandelion root tea for extra detox support. So go back and listen to that hydration episode if you have not already. And then mindfulness, detox only happens in a parasympathetic state. Rest, digest, and heal. Your parasympathetic nervous system needs to be active. That rest and digest mode is so key to detoxification. And mindfulness, breath work, meditation, these are literally turning your detox processes on. So similarly, we have that mindfulness episode, so check that one out too. And that brings me to movement. So your lymph doesn't have a pump. We've talked a little bit about the lymphatic system. I have not yet had a whole episode on that, but essentially your lymphatic system, which is moving toxins out of your body, only flows when you're moving. Your muscles pump it. So walking, yoga, rebounding, dancing in your kitchen, all of this is detox medicine. Even if you're not putting toxins into your body, you still need to move them out. So if you need some numbers around that, aim for 30 minutes twice a day as a baseline. Maybe you're doing more, maybe you're working up to that. Now, food as medicine is going to be so key for our detoxification. First and foremost is fiber, right? So most of us need at least 25 to 30 grams of fiber a day. Almost no one is getting that much when they first come work with me and they haven't maybe been intentional about fiber. And in some protocols, I might even be doubling that. Fiber is going to be important for binding estrogen. It also binds cholesterol. It feeds your microbiome and it ensures that toxins don't get reabsorbed. So if you're a little bit more advanced in your detox knowledge, you might know about utilizing binders to bind toxins. Fiber would be a binder. And protein. So, an overlooked detox nutrient for sure. Amino acids are required for phase 2 liver detox, and where this is essentially where toxins are getting neutralized and packaged for elimination. So, making sure that we're getting enough in that diet is key. And sulfur rich veggies, sulforaphane. So, you've got your broccoli, your kale, your garlic, your onions. These are going to keep your liver very, very happy and detoxing. And in our lymph love and in our hydrotherapy intentional practices, things like castor oil packs, dry brushing, contrast showers, sauna, Epsom salt baths, these are forever my favorite detox support habits. And they're affordable. They're simple to do at home and add to your week. You've heard me talk about Thursday nights, how I love to take an Epsom salt bath. I will also do that if I'm coming down with something or if I feel like I need some extra detox support and sweating. I really look forward to that ritual so much. And my time out on my paddleboard, I'm pointing to the river at my office, is one of the best detox practices I do. I'm moving my body. And I would also say abstaining from toxins coming in. So I don't drink alcohol, for example. That's really important in my detox strategies. Now, I touched on this a little bit before, but let's move on to the nervous system. And this is a bridge that most people are not connecting in their health journey. And that is that detoxification requires a regulated nervous system, or just that your nervous system is getting into that parasympathetic rest, digest, and heal state, and you're not constantly triggered into chronic fight or flight. So, your vagus nerve, the communication superhighway of the parasympathetic state, connects to every major detox organ: your lungs, your spleen, kidneys, liver, gallbladder, stomach, colon. So, when your vagus nerve is activated through things like deep breathing, humming, singing, gargling, splashing cold water on your face, you are directly improving your detoxification capabilities. This is also why fear based messaging around toxins is so counterproductive. If you're constantly stressed or getting messages that the environment is toxic and everything is polluted, and you're panicking or overwhelmed by all the things that could harm you in the environment, you've just shut down the very state that allows detox to happen. So I've been posting about this on Instagram recently. And I also do want to say, please don't get your advice from the internet. Now, I know that might seem counterintuitive because that might be how you found me if you're a stranger listening to this podcast. But here's my point. When I graduated naturopathic medical school in 2013, the internet and direct to consumer marketing by health professionals was way less of a thing. And honestly, I miss those days. I do think it is best to find an actual person and connect with a provider at some point in your health journey. And if there is someone like me who you follow online and they're scaring you or making you feel less than or telling you the only way to heal is to buy their product, please run away, myself included. I don't want to participate in that type of fear mongering messaging. I really want to just educate you on some of the steps that you can take if you're not yet working with someone like that. But I do, or not someone that scares you, but a naturopathic physician or someone who can guide you around detoxification. But I want to make that message clear that fear is going to shut down your detox pathways. So if you're just constantly worried about everything in the environment, which some of my patients are when they first come to see me, or even if you have a lot of sensitivity to things in the environment, so chemical sensitivities or mast cell activation syndrome, for example, adding more fear about these things in the environment is not going to help. So this is why in the Vital Spirit method, nervous system regulation does come first, because we have to be in a healing state to heal. So now that we're not afraid about the toxins in the environment, yes, we will talk more about what those are in future episodes. But today I want to talk some more about practical daily detox strategies. So what does this look like day to day when we're focusing on draining that detox bucket? And what are the things that we can do? What are things you can get started on at home? So let's start with the basics and the foundations. And sometimes when I check in with patients, they're not prioritizing the seat of health. So let's start with hydration and ideally with filtered water, because yes, chlorine and antibiotics in water can disrupt your microbiome. They can create more dysbiosis. So I do prefer filtered water when we can do that, and certainly avoiding plastics. Again, you're going to get enough fiber every day to support daily bowel movements. If you're having a bowel movement every day, that's a good sign that some of your emunctories, your detox pathways, your organs of elimination are working for you, right? And we talked about protein to fuel that phase 2 detox and glutathione production. So there are things that you can give your body, good things and good tools you can put into your body to help with those detox pathways. We touched on movement and sweating. This is something you can do every single day. And deep breathing for your lungs. Breathing out and excreting toxins through our lungs is such an amazing way to eliminate toxins and reduce that body burden on our detox bucket. And then you can layer in at-home rituals that you do every day or you have in a rotation for your healing routine. So that might look like things like castor oil packs for gentle liver support and detoxification. I do know that those are promoted a lot on the internet, so you can probably find some information about those. Again, not by someone who's making you feel afraid, but hopefully someone who's helping you understand why castor oil packs are great for detox. Dry skin brushing before the shower. This is a really nice way to get in touch with your body, have some quiet time alone, and start supporting your lymphatics before you even shower. Again, Epsom salt baths, like I mentioned. So I do like to do Epsom salt baths at least once a week, or I did mention that you can do those a few times a week. And if you have access to a sauna, even hot yoga counts. You'll always find me in my hot yoga class sweating. But if you have access to a sauna, that's another great way to empty your detox bucket. And definitely don't forget your skin, right? So, your skin is your largest organ of elimination. I will have another episode on all of the pathways that toxins take to get released through our body. But today I really did want to focus on some of the things that you can do. But sweat actually carries out things like BPA and heavy metals. So, definitely making sure that you're sweating every day, gently exfoliating your skin, and not putting toxic moisturizers or things like petroleum-based creams on our skin. And here's the truth. Until you're doing these things, it does not make sense to buy the latest detox supplement or do a big fancy restrictive cleanse. Start with the basic foundations and then build up to deeper protocols that release on a deeper level. And then you can maintain the results of that with these daily habits that you've already cultivated and are working on. So often people think you go to the doctor, you get a pill, they fix your ill, and you never return. And that couldn't be further from the truth. That this is your body, that this is your home for the rest of your life here on earth, and you take care of it. And supporting your detox pathways is a really important way to take care of your body. So, as part of taking care of our body, I do have some favorite detox allies, herbs, nutrients, remedies, right? Yes, supplements and advanced tools do have their place. So, I want to go through some of those with you. I'm not saying that everyone needs to take these or that you should take these necessarily, but these are some of the things that I might use with patients. So, NAC or N-acetylcysteine, you've heard me mention this before, is a precursor to glutathione, which is your master antioxidant that helps your liver detox toxins. So, it helps your liver neutralize and package toxins to then release them out through your body. NAC is something that I use quite a bit in my practice. It's an amino acid. It is very safe to use. You might also hear me talking about it as a mucolytic or when I'm trying to thin mucus or drain mucus. But again, it's a nice, affordable precursor to glutathione. Milk thistle is an herb that I use all of the time. It supports liver regeneration. Your liver is actually an organ that regenerates, which is cool. It's like the starfish of your organs. And milk thistle also boosts phase 2 detox pathways. So very often in detox teas or supplement blends, you'll see milk thistle. Then choline and inositol are really key for fat metabolism and preventing a sluggish liver. Sulforaphane, which I mentioned before from broccoli sprouts, is an activator of detox genes and antioxidants in our body. And your probiotic and prebiotic support are going to feed your microbiome so your gut can eliminate effectively. So those are great supports for detox as well. In gemotherapy, I might use bud extracts like ribos nigrum for inflammation or rosmarinus for liver stimulation, betula for kidney urinary support, and you definitely will find me using undas or biotherapeutic drainage, which are gentle homeopathic style remedies that stimulate your emunctories, liver, kidneys, lymph to do their job. They're really subtle, they're safe, and they're powerful when used consistently. And I do have an episode on drainage before detox. So again, there's a lot that you could dive into around detox instead of just being afraid of all the toxins that you might be exposed to. And biotherapeutic drainage, I like to think of as is really great on getting deeper drainage on a cellular level. And I would also want to mention, we did talk about organs of detox, right? But inside of your cells, because toxins don't just float around your bloodstream. They get stored in your tissues and fat and even inside your cells. So supporting detoxification means helping your body mobilize and release that stuck waste So one of the most fascinating processes here with that is autophagy. So autophagy is like emptying the trash cans inside your cells before they overflow into the rest of your house. So, what are some ways that you can support this process and empty the trash cans of your cells? Fasting and time restricted eating will be one way. So, that creates a window of cellular rest where detox can start to happen. Movement, exercise is going to simulate this process in muscle and liver cells. Polyphenols and plant compounds, you're always hearing me talk about eating the rainbow to get all those polyphenols. So things like EGCG in green tea, turmeric, resveratrol, quercetin, these are all going to help with that. And heat stress, so hormetic stressors like sauna or hot yoga, like I mentioned, will mimic these mild hermetic stressors and encourage repair and renewal on a cellular level. And although this is great for kind of anti-aging, it's not just about that. It's about detox capacity. So when we're detoxing effectively at a cellular level, we're protecting our DNA, the ends of our DNA that can get ragged, and we don't want that to happen. That accelerates aging, and we're reducing oxidative stress, and we're keeping our system resilient. So you're not going to get sick as much. You will be less inflamed. You definitely will have more mental clarity, more emotional resilience. So this is a whole body process, and it's super important. So even though I don't want to instill fear, I do want to talk a little bit about the environment. And again, we can have a whole episode on this, right? Because clean living is not about perfection. We are exposed to a lot every day and more as the years go on. But it is about tipping the balance in your favor and controlling or changing what you can and trying to accept the things that you cannot. So you do want to reduce exposure where it's practical. So that's plastics, parabens, phthalates, synthetic fragrances, harsh cleaners. Start slow, start small. Maybe swap one thing at a time if this is new to you. Maybe it's your laundry detergent, your deodorant, or ditch scented candles for beeswax and essential oils. These are things that I help patients with step by step. Some of you are going to be more well versed in this clean living or versus toxic living conversation. Try not to get overwhelmed and take one step at a time. Make one change at a time. Some of my favorites, I keep it pretty simple. I love Dr. Bronner's soap. I use a lot of vinegar and essential oils for cleaning wool dryer balls instead of dryer sheets, for example. And the key really is that fear is not the point. A calm, consistent, continuous choices around clean living is the point. I haven't used commercial cleaning products for over 15 years. It just kind of has become how I live. So when I talk about this, I realize that it's very easy for me to do these things. I live this way. So I'm happy to answer any questions you might have about this. It is something I'm really passionate about. I'm doing some posts on Instagram on clean living. So you can ask me some questions there if this is new to you. Oh, and I will say last on that, a lot of people think that it can be expensive to eat organic and check the ewg.org for everything that you buy and make sure it's clean. And that's really not true. Some product swaps, you might find it's more expensive, but I would look at your health in the long run as an investment, first of all. And then second of all, when you reduce a lot of the purchases you're making, especially around like home cleaners, you're really going to actually reduce the cost of products that you purchase for home cleaning, for example. So I hope that encourages you. And I really can't finish this episode without talking about detox and how it impacts midlife hormones, right? So here's where this all ties into perimenopause and menopause. Because detoxification isn't just about how your body clears chemicals, it's about how your body is clearing your hormones too. If your liver and gut aren't processing estrogen efficiently, you're going to feel it. You're going to feel it in hot flashes, in PMS, in heavy bleeding, mood swings, and sleep disruptions, not to mention brain fog and bloating. So again, back to fiber. My favorite to start with is psyllium husk because it's gentle. It's a gut modulator, so it tends to be helpful no matter what I know about that patient. I tend to find that they can do okay with psyllium. Start low. It does bind excess estrogen. Psyllium is also a precursor to Akkermansia, one of your keystone species in your gut, and it helps you make butyrate, which is one of the short chain fatty acids that's important for your microbiome. And we did touch on protein, getting enough protein, which is going to fuel conjugation and hormone metabolite clearance. We talk all the time in my practice about omega-3s and the antioxidants in the diet. These are going to help calm the inflammatory load in our body that makes hormone symptoms worse. And definitely nervous system regulation is important for hormone detoxification. It allows our detox processes to happen, right? And it's going to help with any sort of emotional lability that we might be struggling with. And this is why detox and hormones are really inseparable in midlife. There are some products that I love for women in midlife. For example, there's a product called hepatotone that I use a lot. I will sometimes use calcium glucarate, especially if I see that they have that indicated in their stool test. So beta glucuronidase was high. Again, these are kind of more in-depth details that I can certainly have episodes on, or you can ask me or your provider about. Now, for a piece we rarely talk about, and that's detox as spiritual hygiene. Just like your body accumulates physical toxins, your spirit accumulates energetic debris: stress, fear, grief, toxic relationships, collective anxiety, karmic energies. And if physical detox is stagnant, spiritual stagnation often follows. So, some signs of that might be brain fog, feeling stuck, disconnected from your purpose, burnout. We've had so many episodes on burnout recently, carrying energies that aren't yours. These can be signs that you need a spiritual detox. And I want to zoom out for a moment, because when we're thinking about our detox bucket and we're starting to incorporate the idea of mind, body, spirit, and other energetic realms, let's think about other wisdom traditions, other healing traditions, and how cleansing was both physical and spiritual. Think fasting or sweat lodges or ritual bathing. These practices were not about deprivation, they're about purification, and not just on a physical plane, but energetically and spiritually as well. Because when we have lightened that toxic load, not only does our body function better, but our spiritual channels are clear too. We feel more connected, intuitive, aligned. As many of you have heard me say, I want to have some more of these conversations around energetic bodies and different aspects of healing. But if a patient comes in and their detox buckets are completely overwhelmed and they're overflowing with rashes and they're constipated, we have to clear that physical stagnation first. It's kind of like brushing your teeth or flossing your teeth. So just like you floss your teeth, you need to floss your energy. So detox practices, from mindful practice, mindful breath work, or castor oil packs with some breath work, or adding in things like crystals or energy medicine, they become rituals of spiritual hygiene, clearing stagnant energy and making space for vitality. These are not one size fits all. So you do have to find something that works for you. But when you combine this with nervous system regulation, you're unlocking a deeper rhythm of healing: calm body, clear mind, open spirit. So supporting detox spiritually might look similar to supporting it physically. It might look like diaphragmatic breath work and belly breathing and meditation to clear your mental field. It might look like journaling or a gratitude practice to shift your perspective and your mindset. It might look like time in nature, utilizing hydrotherapy or ritual baths as energetic cleansing. And it might look like prayer or chanting or sound healing to reset your frequency. And when you work with me through the Vital Spirit method, detox is never just physical. It's about creating flow on every level: body, mind, and spirit. Because stagnation is the breeding ground for disease, right? So here's the reframe I want you to walk away with today. Detox is not a one-time cleanse. It's not a quick fix. It's a daily rhythm of supporting your emunctories, making sustainable swaps, and nurturing your nervous system so that your body can do what it was brilliantly designed to do, which we all know is heal. You don't have to fear toxins. You just have to lighten the load and support your body's natural systems, your body's natural ability to move them out. Yes, there's a time and a place to test for things like mold toxins and to make sure that your body is detoxing, of course. But that's not what this episode is about. And if you want a place to start, you can download my free Seeds of Health journal. It's a simple, sustainable way to bring detox rhythms and habits into your daily life. This is the foundation for hormone health, mood balance, and resilience in midlife. Thank you for listening to today's episode of the Vital Spirit podcast. Stay tuned for future spin-offs where we'll dive deeper into things like mold, heavy metals, plastics, and advanced detox strategies, all without fear, but focusing on empowerment. And you can check out my Instagram posts on the topic of clean living for more guidance. I'll be posting about that all of this month. And as always, this podcast is sponsored by my clinic, Roots Deep Medicine, and the Vital Spirit Method, which is my signature care system. So please download and subscribe, as well as share it with others. And if you have time, leave a review. These are the ways that we can grow and get this into the hands of more women on their health awakening journey. Until next time, remember, your body knows how to heal. You just have to support the rhythm. Have a great day.